Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're really going to slow things down. We are entering this space of deliberate study to examine one of the absolutely most fascinating literary and mythological archetypes from the 72 Demons of Solomon. We're looking at Marax, the horned professor of the Ars Goetia. And right off the bat, I gotta tell you, this isn't your typical demon of fire, brimstone, and chaos. Not at all. This is a creature of ancient, patient knowledge, and exploring his lore offers a literal masterclass in narrative world-building.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The bull stood beneath the broken dome, old and calm and terrible in its patience. I mean, just picture that imagery for a second. A ruined observatory bathed in the moonlight of 3 different stars, with ancient herbs pushing their way up through cracked marble floors. It's this incredibly atmospheric cold open, right? And it immediately tells us we aren't dealing with a creature of destruction, but rather a being of immense, enduring stillness.
Section 1. The lore and rank of a scholar official.
Let's break his profile down a bit. Morax, or Morax as he's sometimes written, is listed as the 21st spirit of the Ars Goetia. So the crucial point here is his rank. He is both a Great Earl and a president. And in the context of this lore, that combination is a really big deal. It essentially gives him the weight of both law and natural science. He's definitely not some battlefield ruler. He's an administrator of ancient knowledge. And just look at his domains: astronomy, herbs, stones, and familiars. He's an entity deeply, inextricably connected to both the grand cosmos way up above and the grounded dirt beneath our feet.
But, hey, don't let his scholarly nature trick you into thinking he lacks power. 30. That is the number of legions of spirits currently under his command. It's a vast amount of authority, reinforcing that his presence is just immense and formidable. Even though he's a teacher at heart, he carries the quiet, unstoppable power of like a shifting tectonic plate or a changing season.
Section 2. Anatomy of a Demon, Earth and Sky.
The imagery of Marax is strikingly simple, especially when you compare it to the crazy multi-headed chimeras you usually find in these old texts. Now, what's really interesting here is how that exact visual juxtaposition breaks down. Take the bull form, for instance. The bull is one of our absolute oldest symbols of force, fertility, and dangerous momentum. But a bull's real threat, it lies in its patience. It doesn't ever need to hurry. That represents agricultural memory and pure instinct. Now contrast that with the human face, which adds reason, speech, teaching, and judgment to the mix. By joining these two, the tradition takes raw, unstoppable animal force and turns it into articulate, rational knowledge. So he isn't a wild beast. He's literally nature made intelligent.
Section 3. The Curriculum of Nature.
Just look at how this curriculum is split up. On one hand, we have earthly domains: herbs, stones, medicine, poison, and mineral memory, balanced perfectly against cosmic domains like astronomy, cosmic order, timing, and navigation. And this brilliantly illustrates how Marax connects the macrocosm to the microcosm. He links the massive, slow, sweeping movement of planets in the night sky directly to the quiet growth of roots in the dirt and the hidden value of minerals buried deep underground. He is totally cosmic and totally botanical at the exact same time. Oh, and part of that curriculum involves something I find absolutely fascinating: wise familiars. We're talking companion intelligence, apprentices, animal guides, and knowledge passed through unlikely voices. This unique domain is so vital because it completely elevates Marax beyond just being a walking encyclopedia. It shows he's an active teacher who utilizes unlikely, living channels to pass on ancient truths. Imagine, a stray dog correcting your complex math homework by scratching symbols into the floorboards. That is the exact realm of Marax. Section 4. Story function. Writing the Horned Professor.
When you introduce a figure like Marax into your world, you fundamentally change the genre of your story. He shifts the narrative completely away from standard supernatural horror and turns it into an academic mystery. When Marax shows up, he forces the characters and, by extension, the audience to ask a really pivotal question. What law is operating here? You can't just fight Marax with the sword or banish him with a simple quick spell. The story demands that the protagonist decode, observe, and study the natural world as if it were a giant ancient library.
Because here's the thing, there is always a catch. Disciplined knowledge simply cannot be stolen without consequence. His presence implies rigorous tests, apprenticeships, and some seriously long nights of observation. It introduces this massive moral tension into your narrative. Remember those earthly domains we talked about? Herbs and stones? Natural knowledge is never entirely harmless. The exact same healing herb that cures a nasty ailment can also act as a deadly poison. A star map can guide weary travelers, sure, but it can also guide a conquering army right to your doorstep. Knowledge of nature has teeth.
Let's move to how this builds into some highly actionable plot hooks for your own writing, because the versatility here for fiction is just incredible. You could have the bull in the observatory, basically a brass statue teaching astronomy at midnight to anyone brave enough to stand between its horns. Or how about the garden of precious stones, where herbs only grow and only cure specific illnesses when they're planted next to certain minerals. You could do the familiar who knows the stars, an animal guide rewriting astronomical charts. Medicine of the wrong planet, a cure harvested under a rare celestial conjunction that ends up revealing terrifying genetic secrets. Or even the stone that studies humans, a gem that records every hand that holds it, prompting Marax to manifest and lecture a thief on memory and consequence rather than just violently punishing them.
Now, if you are actually going to write dialogue for him, keep this quote in the back of your mind. His words should feel like stones being placed on a table, one by one. Think about that pacing for a second. Marx is grave, he's patient, scholarly, and let's face it, physically intimidating. He speaks like a professor who has watched entire civilizations misunderstand nature for centuries. He understands these massive cosmic systems, and he frankly doesn't care about human urgency. He will calmly explain the macro pattern while a mortal is practically begging him for a quick, easy answer. And let's be honest, there is something wonderfully absurd about a giant demonic bull calmly refusing to skip to the end of his astronomy syllabus just because you happen to be in a rush to save the world.
Section 5. The arrogance of interpretation.
So, Morax isn't just some weird folklore oddity, right? He represents a deeply ancient worldview. He embodies this idea that the universe is readable, that stars, plants, stones, and bodies all contain observable signs. But he also represents the greatest danger in studying those signs, which is beautifully captured right here. If you uncover the patterns of the universe, does that make nature your servant, or are you simply reading its warnings? That is the ultimate lesson of Morax. A character might falsely believe that understanding the pattern means they can control it. But the horned professor is there to patiently, quietly remind them that knowledge of nature does not make nature obedient. He is the wisdom that grows slowly, arriving not with fire or trumpets, but like a shifting season or a constellation becoming clear over years of watching. Keep that in mind next time you dive into your own world building. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.